Hello everyone and welcome back to CodeChef. If you are serious about becoming a software developer, data analyst, backend engineer or even a full stack developer, then one skill that you absolutely cannot ignore is working with databases. We are not just learning commands, we are learning how databases are designed and how data is logically structured. In this video, you will understand what SQL actually is and why it exists, how databases store different types of data, what SQL statements are and how they are categorized, what are ER diagrams, and what entities are and how they represent real-world objects. So watch till the end. What is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It is a standard language used to interact with relational databases. Relational databases store data in the form of tables consisting of rows and columns. So basically, SQL is a language that we use to make changes to or create relational databases. In relational databases, we can store data in form of tables. And we know that when we are creating tables, it is basically a combination of rows and columns. Why is SQL important? So there are some factors that make SQL very important for database management. First is, it is easy to learn. Second, it works with almost all databases. Third, it is used in backend development, data analytics, and data science. Last but not the least, it allows precise control over data. So these are the reasons why we use SQL to manage databases. What SQL can do? It can be used to create and modify databases. It is used to insert, update and delete records. It can be used to retrieve data efficiently, and it can control access to data. So it also helps in maintaining the privacy of data so that no unauthorized user can access it. Introduction to data types. To store data efficiently, databases need to know what kind of data is being stored. This is where data types come into play. Now, what is the importance of data types? First, it prevents invalid data entry. Second, it optimizes storage space. Third, it improves query performance. And fourth, it ensures data integrity. So these are some important points that we need to consider when we are choosing data type for our data. Categories of data types. First, numeric data types. It means what are the data types that we can use when we want to store data in form of numbers. First is int. It stores whole numbers. For example, it can be used for storing IDs, counts, age, and so on. Second is float or double. It stores decimal values. For example, salary, price, percentages, and so on. Then, second category is character data type. So, it is also known as varchar in bracket n. It means variable length text. It is efficient for storing names, emails, and descriptions. Next is char in bracket n. So it is used for storing fixed length text. So if you see, varchar is used to store text whose length is variable, but char is used to store text that is fixed in length, and it has a faster access but fixed memory usage. Then next category is date and logical data types. So it can be used to first store date, and then second boolean. Boolean means it stores logical true or false. Introduction to SQL statements. SQL communicates with databases using statements, also known as commands. These statements are grouped based on their purpose. So just like in any other programming language we have commands, in SQL we have statements. and they are categorized or grouped based on their purpose. Now here we have SQL statement categories. First is DDL, which stands for Data Definition Language. DDL or Data Definition Language is used to define and modify database structure. Some of the commonly used statements in DDL are create, alter, drop, and truncate. We will discuss each of these commands or statements in detail in future lessons. DDL commands affect the schema and not the data. Next category is DML, which means Data Manipulation Language. It is used to insert, modify, and delete data. Commands that come under DML are insert, update, and delete. DML works directly on record inside tables. So, unlike DDL, we use DML to manipulate data. Next is DQL, which means Data Query Language. It is used to retrieve data. The command that comes under DQL is select. DQL is the most frequently used category in real-world applications. Why? Because we use DQL to retrieve data. Most of the time, we need DQL for retrieving some important reports, data, or other form of meaningful information. ER diagram. In short, we call it ERD. Before writing SQL code, databases are first designed logically using an entity relationship diagram, which is also known as ER diagram. An ER diagram is a visual representation of the database structure. So whenever we want to design a database, we first create its ER or entity relationship diagram to decide the overall structure of the database. It shows what data is stored, which is known as entities, then how data is described, which is also known as attributes, and how data is connected, which means what is the relationship between these entities. We are going to discuss about entities, attributes, and relationships in the next video. Why ER diagrams are critical? Because they help translate real-world problems into database models. Secondly, they reduce redundancy and inconsistencies. Redundancy means repetition of data. Then, they help in making large databases easier to understand. So, they kind of simplify things for the user. And they serve as documentation for developers. ER diagrams are the planning stage of database development because once the ER diagrams are ready, the whole database structure is designed accordingly. That brings us to the end of this video, and this is a very important milestone. Today we focused on understanding how databases think, not just how SQL commands are written. This conceptual clarity will make SQL much easier as we move forward. In part 2, we will dive deeper into entities, attributes, relationships, primary keys, data integrity, and learn creating tables in SQL, and also how to insert data in those tables. So make sure you watch the next part as well. Thank you so much for watching.